Well, Valarie Storm, ladies and gentlemen. Valarie Storm. Friend Jamie came up. And welcome whoever is tuning in on the World Wide Web to our interview here at the Humor Institute, McCurdy's Comedy Theater. And, yeah. You need a drink?
I have one.
You just drinking water?
Yeah.
You didn't give up liquor, did you?
I did. I did.
Totally?
Yeah, I don't drink at all. Not even a drop.
What drugs are you doing? Nothing?
Oh, I take some Metamucil.
Oh, okay.
Some fish oil.
I tried the Benefiber, but it binds my vitamins into it, so I had to give that up. Valarie and I have known each other since pretty much the beginning of your career. Yep. So that's been kind of neat for me to watch her all the way through. And now you already kind of let the audience know you grew up in Fort Myers. You're a Florida girl. You're a Florida beach babe. You are.
I used to be.
Well, you are, and
last time I put on a bathing suit was in a dressing room, and I cried.
You're a little beauty queen.
Lighting in there.
Now your dad's a fire chief.
Yes. Actually, he was a captain. He was a fire captain, and he was president of the union for the fire department down at local. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, he did a lot of great work over the years. He did it for about 25 years. And
your mom and dad are both still down there. And,
yes, they are.
The five brothers, half brothers, foster brothers, real brothers.
I have three natural brothers, Jimmy, Mark, and Dale. And we all live within 10 miles of each other still to this day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm not getting rid of them assholes anytime soon.
No, people can afford to get out. And are any of them, what are they doing?
My one brother does hazardous waste. He goes around the country and invented a program to get hazardous waste out of our counties, and it became a prototype for across the country. He's actually been to the White House several times and honored. I'm very proud of him. That is my brother Dale. My brother Jimmy is an executive for Embark, and my brother Mark is a he goes to a construction site and figures out what they need for plumbing, like the underground, all the water stuff. I don't know what the hell he does. I think he's an engineer. He pees on his wife's loofah. That's where I got that joke.
So it sounds like if you ever get low on cash, you've got plenty of backup.
Well, my niece is that's the electrical engineer. She just got a really big job, so we're very proud of her. She hasn't even got out of school yet, and she did a internship with Lockheed Martin. Yeah, so she's quite a bright girl. Very, very book smart. And honey, if you're watching this, I'm really sorry, but couldn't find her way out of a paper bag. Just no sense of direction whatsoever. I like to take her to the Olive Garden, wait for her to have to go to the bathroom, and then she just like wanders around like, where did they go?
Now, you went to high school and everything down there.
I sure did. Graduated with Deion Sanders.
Really?
Yes, I did. He doesn't even call.
No?
Not.
Y'all were in the same
all the way
class.
through school, yep.
So did you hang out with Deion at all? Did you?
No, believe it or not, me and Deion didn't have a lot in common.
Really?
Yeah. Usually his talents, they boosted him. They're like, woo, you can run really fast. We love you. You have to go to detention, Miss Storm. Yeah, being a comedian doesn't do well in
Deion
school.
never hit on you?
No.
No. Well, now growing up here in Florida, a beautiful young lady hanging out on the beach. I mean, what was that like? Just everything you wanted to do?
This is a long time ago, but I actually did a little bit of bikini runway modeling for Venus swimwear back in the day. Yeah, thank you very much. Those days are long gone. And we have a regatta down there every year, so I used to do that, and I did a couple calendars for Harley Davidson.
So
with my clothes on. My parents made me put that in there.
So were you in kind of a fast lane kind of?
I was. Fun? I was a bit of a party kid.
Mm-hmm. I would imagine.
You know, I always knew I wanted to be a comic since I was 5. I just didn't know how to, you know, back then there was no Humor Institute.
No. We weren't here.
There was no written, you couldn't find a book on how to do stand-up comedy. I got my first laugh on stage at 5 during a beauty contest. I cursed, actually. At 5? Yes, I did.
What'd you say?
I said, "Hail." The guy asked me, yes, I did. He goes, "Do you like going to school?" I went, "Hell no!" And my mother learned to walk with her ass cheeks. And they said, I never even noticed the crowd. And they said when I did that, and the crowd kaboom, that I just was like,
this was good.
And I was lost since then.
And did you go to college at all?
A little bit, but I left.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I did too. I left.
To leave.
Came
Whatever.
Back, because there were things going on.
Some people don't have a sense of humor.
No. And so you were how old when you got into stand-up comedy?
I started when I was 30.
You're 30 years old, so you'd been around a little bit, you'd done things, you'd tried stuff. What were your careers, what were your jobs leading up to that?
I worked in radio. I used to work for 99X. I don't know if you get that up here. I wrote commercials and stuff. I managed a couple restaurants and waitressed and bartended, and I think it was a really good call on my part that I got out of the public service. I know you guys are going to find this hard to believe, but sometimes I can't hold my tongue. I know, I'm shocked too.
Can you give us one incident that stands out in your mind with a customer, you know, with a direct, where you had to deal with someone who was being unpleasant, and you didn't bite your tongue and just go about, you went ahead and...
Well, it wasn't really a customer. I used to work at the Olive Garden, again, bragging. And my boss was kind of a jackass.
Oh.
He was, he was fighting with his wife. He locked himself in the office. Some stuff was going on out there. I couldn't get him to come out. I couldn't get him to talk to me. Made an executive decision and comped these people's meals. And when he finally came out of the office, he went nuts on me. And ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to say that I quit a job in a fashion that everybody in this room at one time or the other has wanted to quit their job. I walked out the door going, "Fuck you and fuck you, fuck you. I liked you, I did." And it is a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing. We've all, if you haven't had that, I had a situation like that. Me and Ken Sons, who is my comedy team partner and helps teach here at the Humor Institute, and we've known each other forever. We were working at a Red Lobster, not bragging, and we were the dishwashers. The dishwashers. And we'd been there for about 2 weeks. We were trying to make enough money to go on spring break, and we had already, so we had that trump. Okay, and then it was a Saturday night. It was a Saturday night, and it just shut down. So every frickin' dish in the Red Lobster comes in, and the assistant manager comes up to me and he goes, "Take out the garbage." And I went, "Take out the garbage? You never asked me to take out the garbage. I got a million dishes here to do. Have Johnny take out the garbage." He goes, "I told you to take out the garbage." I said, "No, I'm not taking out the garbage. I got a million." He goes, you're telling me you're not doing what I told you to do?" I said, "Yeah, I'm telling you I'm not doing it." He goes, "You're fired." I go, "Fucking cool." That was exactly, there's only one more hour. Only one more hour, a million dishes. Well, of course, Ken is standing in front of the dishes going, "I ain't doing them dishes." Fuck you too. And we both walked out, and we found out the next day the general manager walked out and went, "Where's the dishwashers?" He goes, "I fired them on a Saturday night at the end of the evening, made him wash all the dishes." Oh, God, we had a great time in Daytona that week.
I do have a really good story about the last job I had before I quit to become a comic. And actually, you helped me with this.
Helped you quit?
Well, you helped me not freak out.
Oh, okay.
Because you made a phone call for me and got me all the work with Comedy House Theaters, being the MC. I got to do 8 shows a week. I traveled for $250. I only did a 15-minute set. I got to travel around the United States. But 8 shows a week, you grow very quickly as a comic, so it really helped me out. But I was working at a radio station, and I had a boss that was a very nasty kind of person. And then we had the girl that was in the office, the sweet girl, you know, that if you're out sick, she gives you a good well card, you know, or if it's your birthday, she got you a cake. She was just the sweetest thing, little plump. And we were all having our morning meeting one morning, and we had the donuts. You know, they always deliver food to the radio station. If anybody doesn't know that, that's a place to go to eat. And she walked over and got herself a donut and went to sit down. And my boss looked at her and said, "You think you really need that?" Yeah. She started tearing up. And I got my little ass in gear. And again, I quit that job going, "Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you." 10 years later, I am on the road. He goes, "Well, if you don't like my job, you go out and you become a full-time comic, missy." Out the door I went. 10 years later, I'm working in Tallahassee, Florida. And they give me, we do radio in the morning.
We're doing it tomorrow morning on 107.9 WSRZ with Jones and Crane at 8 o'clock.
We will be there.
Be on there in the morning.
And they give me my radio sheet, and I get back to the hotel, and I'm looking at it. And up at the top of the thing was the same guy that 10 years before had I'd walked out of the job to become a full-time comic. Now here I am, walking back into the radio station where he now has to interview me for being a comic for the last 10 years. I kicked that door open like, poof, "Where's Hank?" Hank obviously seen me on the thing. He left. But yeah, that was one of those moments where you're like, yeah.
So you you know, you're doing, and we talked about this earlier. You talk about how great your life is right now.
It's wonderful.
2 divorces, kid grown.
As my dad says, I'm kind of mouthy.
That's right. Mason's 18 now, and so you kind of have your life, and you're doing real well, and you're working the cruise ships like crazy, and you can be wherever you want to be. But when you that first few years, you talked about $250 a week. It's one thing to be a single guy out on the road. It's one thing, but I'm going to tell you, it is a totally different thing to be a single woman out on the road in a man's game, and that's what comedy is for the most part. And how was that first initial year or two?
It was tough. It was tough, you know. There's a general prejudice in the business that women aren't funny. Oh, yeah. You hear that all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, to move ahead a little bit, you have to do twice as much, it seemed like to me. There was a lot of sexual politics going on, or, you know.
Wait a minute. I never. Go ahead.
Oh, it's okay.
I didn't know anything about the sexual politics.
I have one guy I'd always go to his club, and apparently there was always dust on my boob right there every time. You know? So I came up with an idea. Every time this guy would come to me, you can't really just go off and go, "Don't touch me," and then you're not coming back to that club. So I came up with inventive ways. I would get my mouth full of spit. And then every time he'd come up for the reach, I'd go, "Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry." I got to go back to the club, but he thought I was disgusting. So that worked out. It's hard. You have to spend a lot of time by yourself in a hotel room.
And I know that was something my daughter is just now starting to get into stand-up comedy at 18, and I know a couple of the female comics have talked to her about the fact that when you're a male comic on the road, I'm out on the road for the first time, and you're in some town, you pull up in some town in you know, Macon, Georgia, or Dayton, Ohio, or somewhere, never been there before, don't know anybody. You go to the club, Nobody at the club's really that friendly, you know, kind of a situation. And then you have a great show. You just kick ass, so you're on this real high. Now, me, I could meet this couple from Alabama, and you know, and his wife wants to sleep with me, and you know, and then Paul, he's been hitting on me the whole night, you know, and then this girl's got kicking shoes on, and I mean, you know, but you know, it's like you'll meet people, and they'll go, hey, come out and party with us, and I would go, sure, why the hell not? Where are you going? Whatever, no big deal.
No. You don't go
she
anywhere
can't do
with
that
anyone.
Unless you're carrying a 9mm.
Exactly. Just driving there. Driving to get to the gig. You know, I used to travel it's different now. I fly a lot more, but about 40,000 miles a year in a car.
Absolutely.
Every bit of it. And, you know, going into a rest area by yourself, you're always watching your back. I mean, guys have to do that, but it's a little bit harder for a woman. And if you ever see me out on the road, I'm really sorry. I look like shit, and that's on purpose. Oh, yeah, no makeup, grubby shows.
Right. You want to look like a crack whore, don't you?
Hell yeah, I do.
You do. You want to look like a crack whore. It's true. I toured by bus for a little while. I actually toured by Greyhound bus. I didn't have a car. And I would do the same. The way you ride the bus is you don't shower for 2 days. You don't shower nor shave for 2 days, and then you get in a seat, and unless the bus is completely packed, nobody will sit next to you because you look like a mass murderer. And that's the way you want to appear on a Greyhound bus, is like a mass murderer. Now, but you talked about how you have to get really comfortable being alone.
Yeah, I've always been comfortable being alone because I was the youngest and the baby, and nobody would play with me.
But then, I think there's an enticement sometimes with all comedians to have the companionship, but I think it might more so when you're a lady on the road is to have somebody you can tour with. And then you married that person.
I did.
You married
I married
a comedian.
another comic.
How would that's
and
not a good
another
idea.
comic.
Yes, I want to say that I've known several comics that have married comics, and none of them ever stayed married.
It sounds like a really good idea at first, and it just doesn't seem to work out very well. You're both going in different directions all the time, and he's a wonderful comic. He still is, and. It just wasn't for me.
You're on the road all the time, and unless you're going to tour together. And then even if you tour together, if one person's career starts moving upward in a way that the others doesn't, sometimes that can not work out so good.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
it's hard to fit that professional jealousy into a personal relationship. And it can
so with
tear you
that,
apart at the seams.
With that, having personal relationships, you know, you're on the road how many weeks a year? You're either on a cruise ship or on the road, what, most of the year?
50.
Almost the whole year.
Yeah.
So you're in a different place. Mm-hmm. So what kind of vibrator do you have? Well, how, because these women want to know.
I have a drawer full.
Oh, you have selections. I mean, are you able, or at this point in the past, let's say in the past year, have you been able to date? Have you been able to meet people and go out, or is it just like, what, you know, it just doesn't work?
You know, I was dating a very, very nice gentleman for a while. He was not in the business, which is my preference, but it just didn't work out. You know, he'd be like, hey, can you go to my sister's wedding? It's in 5 months. And I'm like, I'm booked. He's like, you don't even know what day it is. I'm like, I'm booked. So it's very, very hard to date somebody that's on the road all the time. So lately, I've just been kind of stepping back. And I know this is probably going to be a bit of a shock. But with the opposite sex, I am actually quite shy. And I have a hard time expressing myself like I am right now.
But with all of that, hard to have relationships, things like that. But on the other hand, you just told me the other night you're having the best time of your life.
I am having the best time of my life. Right now, if I wanted to go to Vegas tomorrow, there's not one damn person in the world that I have to answer to go. Pack my shit. I'm gone. I raised two of my nieces and my son. I've done a fantastic job. I've been the responsible parent. That was another tough thing, being on the road and being a parent. You know, I would have to do a weekend in, say, Washington, D.C., and then get in my car after the show and drive for 16 hours straight so I can make sure I'm home in time to be the den mother for the field trip. You know, I wanted to do all that for my kid, and, you know, I had to not accept gigs because I had a very specific time of when I could be on the road and when I couldn't be on the road. And it was important. That was my first job. I didn't start comedy until he was 3. And you can't halfway through decide, well, I'm sorry, Mommy wants another career, you're not important. No, he's always important. He was my first priority. And somehow, I don't know how I did it, but I juggled that shit, and he's actually a good kid. And believe it or not, he's OCD just on the bit side, so he's so clean. He cleans my house. He's going to be such a wonderful husband one day.
Any questions out of the audience? Anything at all? Anything you're curious about? Nope? Good. That's it. Thank you so much, Valarie.
Thank you very much, Les.
Appreciate it, everybody.
Thank you, guys. I hope you had a good time tonight.
Do you have your T-shirts?
I do have my T-shirts, but to fit in with what I keep forgetting, I do a bit about being forgetful. I always forget them in the green room when I leave. So my T-shirt actually says, sometimes I wrestle with my inner demons, and other times we just cuddle.
So if you want to pick one up,
outside.
she'll be
Thank you guys very much.
Valarie will be right there, and you want to say hello, you want to grab a T-shirt or whatever, we'll be on 107.9 in the morning. She'll be here through Sunday night with her friends.